Welcome to the module on implementing object-oriented programming, or OOP concepts in Python. In this module, you will learn about implementing two of the most important OOP concepts: classes and objects. After going through this module, you will be able to discuss the object-oriented paradigm in Python, implement encapsulation or classes in Python, instantiate classes in Python to use them, and apply various inbuilt methods of objects and classes. In Python, the programmer can use both procedural as well as object-oriented approach to create applications. Python is a pure object-oriented language and does not support procedural approach. It only gives the programmer an environment where it feels like he or she is using procedural approach. The specialty of Python is that it remains object-oriented, even when no classes or objects are used by the programmer. In other words, the programmer does not have to necessarily define everything in a class, unlike Java, where everything must be defined in a class. Everything has a predefined class, the programmer only makes instances of those classes. Even if function definition is an instance of the class, none type. Following are the key terms in the context of object-oriented programming. Class. A class is a user-defined data type that contains certain attributes to define an object. These attributes are data members or variables, and member functions or methods. Both these attributes are accessed via dot notation. In other words, a class is a template for the creation of objects. Object. In most simple terms, an object may be defined as a unique instance of a class. Every object of a class comprises of data members and methods defined by the class. The concept of encapsulation comes into the picture with the use of objects. A class is just a template. It is the object that implements the concept of encapsulation, that is, grouping data and methods together in a single unit. Data member. A data member is a variable defined in a class. The two types of variables are class variable and instance variable. Method. A method is a function that is defined inside a class to manipulate the object data. The three types of methods are instance, class, and static. To create a class in Python, a keyword class is used, followed by the class name and a colon. This is very similar to a function definition in Python, where keyword def is followed by the function name and a colon. It should be noted here that a class definition in Python cannot be empty. Here, the name of the class and the definition of the class contains a doc string, which is a string literal that gives information about the class. Although not mandatory, it is recommended to use a doc string in the class definition. Now, let's instantiate this class. This can be easily done by writing the following statement outside the scope of the class. Here, obj is the name of the object which is of type myFirstClass. Now, let's add some data and methods to manipulate the data in the class definition. This can be done as follows. Here, a string, myFirstString, and a method show are added to the class definition. Note that just like functions, class definition must be written inside the scope of the class. Self is the variable. A class in Python can have two types of variables: class variable and instance variable. A class variable is shared among all the instances of the class, and an instance variable is unique to every instance of the class that is created. A class variable is defined outside any class method, and an instance variable is defined inside the class methods, using the self keyword. The instance variables are usually defined inside constructors, however, they can be initialized from any method. Class variables are called by the name of the class they belong to, and instance variables are called by the name of the instance. In Python, there are three types of methods: instance methods, class methods, and static methods. Out of these three methods, the one which is used the most is instance method. Note that all the methods used in the previous examples are instance methods. An instance method takes one argument, which is the instance or the object that is invoking the method. A constructor, for example, is an instance object. In instance methods, the argument holds the value of an object of the class that calls the method. This argument is the minimal argument taken by the method. It is important to note that an instance method can take as many arguments as possible. Here, the variable self holds the instance or object of the class that invokes the method. Note that an instance method can only be called by an instance of the class. Class methods are annotated with class method annotation or decorator. This tells the Python interpreter that it is a class method. They can be accessed by either the class name or an object of the class. These methods take one argument that points to the class itself and not the instance of the class, because of which these methods cannot modify the object state. However, class methods have the power to modify class state that applies to all the instances of the class. Here, the variable C holds the class name and points to the class itself. Static methods are annotated with static method annotation or decorator. This annotation tells the interpreter that it is a static method. These methods do not take any minimal arguments, that is, they can contain a minimum of 0 arguments and a maximum of as many as given by the programmer. Since they do not take any class instance or a class itself as arguments, they can neither modify the state of the objects nor the state of the class. Look at the syntax. Here is a Python program that uses all the three types of methods. Unlike other high-level languages like Java, C++, etc., Python does not implement very strict security. Python does not forcefully stop the programmer to get access to a certain method or variable. Although Python implements some kind of access modifiers, they can be easily defeated. In other words, Python does not forcefully stop the programmer to get access to a certain method or variable. A method or an attribute in Python is public by default. Using a single underscore before the name of the attribute or method makes it a private method without changing its privilege. This means that a method can still be accessed from outside the class. A single underscore means that this part of the program may not remain constant. This brings us to double underscore, which can also be accessed from outside the class. Double underscore only makes it a bit difficult to access the method or attribute, but not impossible. The summary of the module on implementing loop concepts, classes and objects is displayed on the screen. I will pause for a few seconds to allow you to read it. Internalize this information and apply it to gain mastery over the concepts. In the next video, we will discuss creating a GUI using Python. Thanks for watching the video. Let us move ahead with next video.